Hey there, Julie Hirschberg from the Neuro Collaborative, and excited to chat with you tonight about something I'm super passionate about, and that is being able to justify seeing your clients for that hour that you want to see them for, and how to do that in your current setting or in a future setting, and really making that real and doing what's best for your clients. Just to let you know a little bit about Neuro Collaborative and where we're coming from, we are a group of really passionate neurotherapists, and you can find us at iloveneuro.com, of course. Isn't that the best website name for a group of really passionate neurotherapists? And we are all about collaborating with other providers to come together and just make neuro practice better. So I'm super excited to come to you tonight. We had our live event a couple weeks ago. It was really great, and we had some good questions. One of those questions was, how can I justify seeing somebody for an hour? I'm getting more demand from a supervisor or a hospital system to see people in shorter time. So what can I do to get the hour-long treatments that I want? So this was the first topic of our blog post. You can check out our blog also at iloveneuro.com. And I wanted to give you 5 really pretty simple things to get you started in this journey of justifying treatments. So first, and probably the most important, right, is thinking about the client in front of you. They're the most important thing, and what works best for them. So I see most of my clients for 60 minutes, but maybe that doesn't work for every client. I have a 93-year-old right now that really just can't tolerate a whole 60-minute session. So we'll do a 45-minute session, and that works really well for her. It also works for her family and the time commitment they have to get there. So that's great. We'll do a 45-minute session. I have another gentleman right now, one of my favorite people of all time, and he does really well with a 30-minute session with me and a 30-minute session with a student. So that's another way that we've been creative to set up our sessions. And it works really well for my schedule, for the client's schedule, for their needs and their goals. So the first part of this is understanding what your patients really need, what they really want, and then going to your supervisor, or if you're starting your own business, map this out, how it's going to work for you to justify these longer treatment sessions. So first thing is get to know that client in front of you. Okay, the second thing is understanding your productivity standard. And productivity is like a nasty word to me, and I think most PTs kind of hate that. So I prefer to think about this as, there's a lot of neuro clients that need you, they need your expertise, and you want to provide that to them. So how can you maximize the number of people that you can see in a day, in a week, and do it with the quality care that you want? So most people can find out what exactly is that standard that they have in the clinic. And for example, if it's 75% and you have 8 hours in a day, you're seeing 6 patients out of the day, I think that is a very generous productivity standard. I think in a lot of standard orthopedic practices, it's a lot higher. Maybe some of you are seeing 16 to 20 patients today. I see Lissa Cleary on. Hi, Lissa. And I know you're in an orthopedic setting right now. I'm curious how many patients you see per day as an outpatient. But I know typically in that orthopedic practice, it's a lot more. So then you have to ask that question, how are you going to compare? Your colleague over here is seeing 16 patients and you want to see 8. And so how can you justify that to your supervisor? How can you investigate what kind of income that is going to bring? And that will bring us to our very next thing. But I wanted to give you a couple of little things to think about. So one, can you get your documentation done within the session if it's an hour-long session? This is totally another topic, but I get super excited about documentation and doing it efficiently. So I would argue, yes, you can get it done within your session, and maybe then you can justify to your supervisor that you don't need documentation time at the end of the day. You're going to get it done. You're going to see your client in 60 minutes, and within that session, you'll be done with your documentation. If you're not sure how to do that, check out next time when I'm on here. Maybe we'll talk about documentation. The next thing is, can you make a case for your current treatment hours? And I think this really depends on how you are paid. So another kind of big ugly P, maybe it's not so ugly, is payment. And I think it's really important to understand how your clinic is paid. And here's a few basic things that you might not know. I totally didn't know until I was running a clinic. So first, in an out-of-network environment, you're paid for the time you spend with your client. This is so important to me. This is why we're an out-of-network clinic at Reactive. There's no incentive for us to try to make the session shorter because we're paid on the amount of time that we are with the client. And so this would be a really important thing to know about your clinic. Are you in network, which means you're under a contract, or are you out of network? If you're under a contract, a lot of contracts reimburse at a flat rate, regardless of the time that you see the patient. And a lot of these are based on about 23 minutes, 25. It's always kind of an odd number. Therefore, if you're working with the client for a longer time, you're actually starting to lose money because they cap out at about 30 minutes. So it makes no sense for that clinic to see people for longer. So this is a big discussion to have if you're looking to open a clinic and whether you're going to have contracts, or you're talking to your supervisor about how is this going to work when you're only paid for about 30 minutes of your session. Very, very big deal. Finally, I want to talk just a little bit about Medicare. So you know, Reactive's an out-of-network. We're out-of-network. We're a cash-based practice, but we accept Medicare. And I don't know, maybe we're one of the only ones that do that. I'd love to hear from you all and at what you're doing. But something to know about Medicare is when you're reimbursed, that first unit of time, that first 15 minutes of time, you get reimbursed at the full rate. The second 15 minutes is a little bit less, the third a little bit less, and the fourth even less. So you are, again, incentivized to see people for a shorter amount of time because you make more with the less units that you bill. It's crazy, I know. So that's something else that's really important to know when you go in and you are making your case to your supervisor that you want to see patients for longer. You need to understand how you are paid for those visits. Now, having said that, I run a clinic that accepts Medicare, and we do not cut our Medicare patients shorter on their time. So it can work. And because I'm in love with Excel and spreadsheets and tables and things like that, I've actually made something to show how it can work and to put some numbers in. So if you sign up at our newsletter on our website, we'll send that to you, a little Excel spreadsheet. And certainly if you have questions about Excel and the functions and stuff, I love chatting about that. Shoot me an email, but would love to help you get on track so that you can see the patients for longer like you want to. So the fourth thing that really comes into play with understanding how you can justify this is the cancellation rate. And this is something that's really near and dear to my heart because it was part of the push to start Reactive, is that people had told me that it couldn't be done successfully because neuro patients cancel a lot. Those were their exact words. And I felt like I set out to prove them wrong. And when I started our practice, our cancellation rate was so low, below 5%, which is really not heard of in the neuro practice. And this is something as Reactive has grown, we work on constantly. And there are a lot of good ways to make this happen and keep the rate low. And that probably, again, is a whole topic of another Facebook Live. So we'll get into that another time. But I want you to at least know what your cancellation rate is. Like, you have to start somewhere. And then commit to lowering it. If you were going to bargain with me and say, hey, I want to do these things, and you're coming to me and maybe the cancellation rate for your current clientele is about 20%, I say, hey, lower it to 10%. And yeah, that time is money there. So you're seeing more clients that way and bringing in more dollars. So it's really, really important to know what it is. And I think there's a few little things to do. Could you potentially lower your cancellation rate by having a longer session? Sometimes it seems counterintuitive, but I would argue yes, because your patients, your clients are getting higher value for their appointment with you. And we tell our clients all the time, hey, we love this time with you. We've prepared for this time with you. Don't miss it. Like, make it here. And we know there's a lot of challenges with neuro clients to get to the appointment, but this is really important. So we talk to our clients about that. And I think if your current clinic is starting to cut down treatment times, I would talk to the clients and say, hey, you want to be here for an hour. These are some things that we're doing to make that happen. We need you to show up, right? So that's the first thing. Also, doing a challenge with your supervisor, and that would be if you lower your cancellation rate, for example, by a certain percentage, can you maintain those hour-long sessions? So again, a challenge to you, a challenge to your clinic. Certainly your front office staff needs to be involved and help you out with this. But I would say even the littlest things like calling a patient in the morning to remind them can make a huge difference. So highly recommend this piece of understanding your practice. And then finally, and this is kind of where a lot of us are, where I had to go, is like, is it time to start your own practice? Can you not get what you need with your patients because you're in an in-network practice and they only get reimbursed for 30 minutes and there's just no way they're going to accept this hour? Maybe it's time. And I would say go for it, because I think this is what our clients need. They need this extra time with you. It's highly valued. They get so much more for it. And so go and do it and let us support you. By the way, I don't know if you noticed this little head peeking in. I got a little helper today. This is Annalyn, my 6-year-old, and she is honestly manning the Facebook page over here for some little comments. So you could do this. You could start your own practice and have a family, and they can help you out with your Facebook Lives. And it's a big reason why I started a practice, was to be able to have this time with my family. And you know what? They, as young women, get to see other women running a business. It's fabulous. But sometimes your plans change and your daughter's hanging out with you for Facebook Live, but that's great. So do it. Start your own practice. We're here to provide you resources. But and I'm a person that swore I would never own my own practice. But things like having the time with the clients that I want, and doing it in a way I really wanted was what really brought me here. And the folks at Neuro Collaborative, Erin, Sarah, Claire, all of us have really kind of come together because we share that common vision, and we want that for you. So again, just to summarize for you those 5 things. First, remember the most important thing: the person in front of you, that client in front of you. What do they need, and what do you know about the best treatment for them? Understand your productivity standards at your clinic, or what you're going to set them for at your new practice. Understand how you're going to get paid. Is it out of network, in network? Is it Medicare? For the 4th thing, understanding your cancellation rate and what you could do to decrease that. It's a big part of the equation. And then finally, bite the bullet, do it, open your own practice and do what you feel is really the best thing for your clients. Finally, I put everything in an Excel spreadsheet. I love working with numbers and seeing how everything works out as I change things. So I would highly recommend go to our newsletter and sign up for our newsletter on our website, and we'll send that out to you. Join our Facebook group as well, and we have all of this in a nifty handout, and I kind of listed some questions so that you can go to your supervisor, or if you're planning your own clinic, you can sit down and go, okay, what is the productivity standard? What do I get paid and what's my benefit rate, so that you can figure out which numbers to plug in that Excel sheet. So that's going to be in our Facebook group. And the Facebook group has been really great. Lots of great questions and good discussion. This is all about collaboration. We're a PT family helping each other out. And I love doing this with other PTs, and you all are so great. We're really inspired by you guys. So thank you. That's about it for me and Annalyn here. And if you have questions, I know I see a few of you guys here. Really would love any questions. Otherwise, we will see you guys next Monday. We'll be here every Monday night, 6:30 Pacific time. Different one of us and different topics, and kind of like the hot topics of neuro business practice. So definitely look forward to seeing you again.
Bye.
Annalyn's going to say goodbye. Thank you all.